right, good morning. So, we got, let's say, the 19th. Looking at a bunch of tickers reporting earnings. Some of them are just blasting higher. We're getting a lot of just. Typically expect healthy dividends to kind of all look the same. But we are not getting that. Now, granted, these are different industries and they do. I mean, obviously, MDT is going to act a lot different than, say, like GSK or like Pfizer. But it's one thing I noticed this morning when I'm going through these. We're all over the place. You can get, I mean, obviously, there's the overall sector, and then there's obviously the greater market are going to have, these longer periods, but it's not like they're carbon copies, which a lot of them, I mean, you go back mostly, yeah, if you go back over last year, most of these tickers kind of traded in unison. So even amongst basically everything healthcare, you didn't even have to break it down into like payers or pharma or biotech. But J&J is my target today. Came down, nailed the anchored VWAP. We're sitting on it. She bounced off it this morning. We have support at 161, so that's where I'm looking. We're sitting right on this RSI uptrend here. She's my primary target this morning. Pfizer also looks like she's getting rejected, but I'm looking for, if it drops below 40, or if we hit 40 today, will we get a flush, or do we get a bounce? And then that'll be that psychological. I mean, there's enough support there. We got above it. Kind of sitting on top of this today, so maybe even right here at like 40-50 we might see a bounce. But can we get, if the market goes up, the sector goes up, is this the day we finally see Pfizer break down through these two break through these two downtrend rays? Anything else? West, haven't looked at you in a while. I know you've been a grind. Yeah, she's looking good. Look at that. So if you're looking to add the West and you feel like this is just a FOMO situation, keep an eye here. This was one where it just kept getting lower and lower, and I didn't really add as much as I should have. Because I mean, not that the dividend was worth it, and it's not crazy in any way, but it was like, well, what's the world look like without West Pharmaceuticals? So should have had a higher conviction there. On almost all of these, I should have just been adding blindly, but anybody else that I needed to? OGN, still keeping an eye here. She broke out, kind of did a little bit of a retest, because although that's not clean, this is probably more like it. Right there. Yeah, you can see it, so. It's probably a better fit, yeah. So you can see, so I'm keeping an eye here. So it broke out, kind of moved, and then finally retested it. There's probably a few more of them coming off it, but this, if you're looking for a spot to add, might not be the worst. MVO had a great last few days. Jeez, I'm behind schedule. All right, let's blast through these. Yesterday I took too long. Genmab. I don't know if I should hit the sell button here yet. I should have hit the buy. That's the question. I mean, should have been adding big time here. Got some good earnings. All right, so I might be Genmab might be in there too if we see a good sell-off. ISRG. Keep an eye there. I will at 3. I mean, I probably should here. Yeah. She's holding above it, though. Let's see if we get 300. Finally take a big profit there. Probably just roll it right over the Genmab. Look at that. That's impressive. See, this is where you know you got momentum, right? It's kind of like, and it works almost in the other way, positive or negative. You have an uptrend ray, right? But then it accelerates, and then from here you can see that it was grinding up, right? We still have, so we have this one, which is even steeper, right? Maybe I should just draw it, but so you have one here. This is where you know the momentum is going crazy, right? And then we have this one. And now off this test, right? It's even steeper. Yeah, because that you can, it's a little, let's move, come in here. You can see that's the new one, right? So that's the steepest. Right? It's not fading, it's accelerating. Right? First one, second one, third one. Now, when it gets out like this, you tend to want to take some profit, and then what you wait for is kind of, it breaks down, and then it comes down. If it's, see if it retests, comes down here, gets bid up, and then if it can stay here, that's okay. Then you maybe look for a double top for another area to sell, or if it obviously is a lower high, but then you hold on to that if it's able to come down, hit, and then reacquire this acceleration, right? So if it can reacquire this uptrend angle of attack, that's one of the things that I like to do, which is, hey, we're getting way outside. It's okay to book profits. Comes down, retests, and it stays in this channel, right, in between these two uptrend rays. Gets to about the same area, and you start to see it fade. It's not a bad idea to take some more if you want, especially during like day trades. But like I said, if it does hit and it stays above it, and either it bounces right above, or even several days later, if for some reason it just decides to blast up and it finds a way to actually reacquire this uptrend ray, that's when you hold, because that means it was just a little blip, either the sector or the market overall, or just lack of volume sometimes just lets it drop down. And whatever algo's got this one still in play, and then this one didn't really give up, it just got overpowered. And that's when you look for it to go a little bit higher, and then the moment it breaks through it again, that's where you kind of book again. You can get some profit. You know, even might be, you know, an extra $1 or $2 in this case, but why not, right? It pays to be diligent. And vigilant. I should say that. It's probably more about the vigilance there. This sucker's been volatile for, like, look at this. It's up, it's down, it's up, it's down. It's just been basing, and they have good data. I mean, good pipeline. Not enough for me to book, though. This was just this was awesome. This is what happened. This is one of the ones I had right when we started off. Keep an eye on this one. Keep an eye on this one. And, you know, if you got down at, look at this. If you got down at 550, this got smashed down. I'm going to talk about it for a second. This got smashed down on one of their pipeline programs showing lukewarm results. Not like, it was more, to me, it was more about probably the trial than it was the actual product, or candidate in this case. But man, did they complete... I just cannot tell you did they just smash this thing as if that one program was, first of all, even their like flagship program. I'm not even sure if it was that, but this company, they get these, drug candidates from outside, they bring it in. It's a completely different technology than the other stuff they have in their program. So it's not like, hey, this drug failed, therefore everything that we've been working that's been developed by our science and our platform and technology, it could be in question, right? So, I mean, I think that's, for in other situations, that's okay. It's okay to punish a ticker that, their lead program failed to hit any sort of endpoints. It doesn't look like the drug is really operative. And then you can kind of say, well, if this is, then maybe the rest of it isn't, and then you can discount it, and then that's fair. But in this case, it was like half their drugs are completely all over the place. Like there's some technology that's the same, but there's some, obscure stuff that they have in their pipeline. So this was a great opportunity. This is classic, and they knew it too. Look, they brought it down. They kept it, the lid on it. They accumulated. It's anemic volume comparative to the rest of but it's not like someone was bitten. That's not horrendous volume, right? They were trying to keep it down. Here, it's going to break out, and they hammered it down. Another day, it looked like it was coming up, and they hammered it down volume-wise. They had this going. I'm going to keep adding here. This is a no-brainer. This is, to me, on the same level as Xeris and Aquestive. At some point, the market's going to have to recognize. PPYI. Got to keep an eye on this one, too. I haven't really booked. Did I? No, I didn't book any profits on this yet. Not yet. This is too ugly. Something else took over here, right? Or is it just... No, they still got this one, right? Yeah. So that one's still in control. Gotta wait. Alright, a few minutes to the bell. I'm sorry for a long video again, but market doesn't really know what it wants to do today. I'm not in a rush, except on maybe some of our healthy dividends. Let's do an update on earnings here. All right, sounds good. So mostly healthy dividends, guys. J&J, watching Pfizer, OGN. Try and see if we can book something on ISRG. And then, I don't know. I don't want to add anything on these guys right now. How's IBRX looking? She's at 2. What are they trying to do to her? Look at the volume, right? Now they want to get in. Finally, outside all this mess, it's coming down to a beyond ridiculous technical level valuation. Look at all these buyouts. Well, these guys changed names, but this one got bankrupt. That was a bad one. It's one of my worst ever. But however, you know what? This is example, I'll tell you before I get out of here. CLVS was an example of it's although it didn't end up correctly, how I wanted, I should say, it was also a great example of you book profits, and then whatever you put back in there, you have to make sure that no matter what, this is example, that ticker went to zero, right? No matter what, you make your first trade, that second time you jump into CLVS or you add to the position, you are still staying there with the same idea of just being mechanical. You book profits. Anything that's left over is all green. It's all gravy. It's all house money, right? The original investment's gone plus some profit. So no matter what, the rest of it could completely crater. You've got your original money that you took out plus a little bit. No matter what, you got something. You can walk away, and you can either take that money that you pulled out in the first place the profits from the first, and you can reapply that when you feel like it's ready to go. It's a good technical setup. It's come back to a level. That's how BioBoom works, because everybody else is doing the same thing, right? You're trying to take the money of shorts and momentum traders, and you're waiting for all that to dry up, and then for it to deflate and come back down and get back in on it again. You're looking for that ultra cheap setup again, right? CLVS, no matter, even though it went to zero, over the years of trading it since, I think, 2017? 2017, I think, was the one year I really, between 2017, those years where I was really trading that ticker, all the way up until basically a year or so ago, where I was just kind of holding on to what I had left. Geez, I don't know how. I mean, it always almost end up in a solid profit, because why? There's always hype. There's always a reason for it to be bought out until they just stopped trying to fund the company and they just kind of gave up. So, and then they couldn't find a suitor. At that point, they were so wounded. Everybody's like, well, why would I, pay for some sort of truce between you guys where I can just sit over there and just watch you, fall apart, and then just take what I want when you're gone, which is basically what's happening. Get pennies on the dollar rather than paying a premium for a buyout. All right, I got to get going here. I don't want to trade. We got a minute to go. Again, I got my little soapbox for a minute there. Doing a write-up on Bolt Biotherapeutics. Interesting. I'll maybe just look at it real quick, just so you guys know. It's interesting. It's one of those classic immunotherapy companies that's trying to turn cold tumors into hot tumors, meaning can't be seen by the immune system, to being hot, meaning the immune system's going to find it and it's going to start working on it. Might be an interesting one to play. It's got a negative enterprise value right now. Technicals are garbage because it's a pretty young ticker. Their IPO was really, this is one of the ones where the IPO and it's like, well, what do they got in their pipeline? It's like, well, the technology sounds great. Okay, but what's the pipeline program? Well, we have if we're working on one of our projects or one of our pipeline programs is in a phase 1, 2, early phase. They got one thing in the clinic, I think, when they launched or IPO'd, and then, we're working on a few other things in their preclinical programs. It's like, okay, so you guys are 5 years at the earliest to be even really being ready to be a solid investable company. So I think they IPO at $11 or something, right? Oh no, it was way higher than that. That can't be true. What? But this was $45. Now it's $1. Now, nothing's gone really wrong here. This is just like these guys need cash and they're not moving along at a fast pace. Was it really? I thought, what did we really open up at here? I thought they were going to open up at 11. Well, I'm totally wrong then. I thought it was 11. Broke out there. Still, look at the angles of attack, though. This thing could be... So, yeah, here's phase 1 data supports advancing into phase 2. That's where they're at. Phase 1 data for their, like, lead product candidate. But at the same time, $8 price target. If this is true... If like, I mean, not true, but if this holds up, which I'll get into the when I post the article, is if this holds up, this is huge. They need obviously a phase 2 with some endpoints in there and etc. Start showing that there's, you know, not just like things are looking good and no one died on our product. That's good. Long-term stable disease, multiple partial responses across a diverse set of solid tumor types, and monotherapy in combination with nivolumab, also known as Opdivo. They do have some partners, so they're bringing in some revenue in there. So it'll be interesting what happens. All right, I'm gonna go on. Gonna put those names in the chat. Probably gonna see if I can book some profits today on ISRG, and then see if we can pick up some Pfizer and some J&J. All right. Compounding, baby. All right. Talk to you later. Stay healthy.